and gentlemen, welcome to New Era, the final rift, Season 2, Talus' takeover. This is the biggest New Era season by a mile. In fact, it is so big that this video has been split up into separate parts. Obviously, you have just seen the trailer. Next, I will be showing you a quick few-minute overview of the map. And then after that, I'll be going into a much more detailed overview of the map. I'm just going to get right into it. Obviously, Season 2, Talus, he turned evil and he kind of took over an entire corner of the map. The bottom left corner of the map has been completely transformed with a whole new biome, very Japanese inspired. So without further ado, let's get into the first POI, which is Talus' POI, Talus Dojo. Oh, that was a very shit review, but Talus Dojo, as you can see, it's hidden in the mountains. You can see the big mountains in the background, so you can probably tell it's inspired from the Warrior's Watch prefab, but it's still custom. It's all still custom made. It even has interior. This is where you saw in the trailer Talus was standing here with his army, and it's all interior. Look at this view. We'll get into the terrain a bit later on, but like right now, just have a quick look at this terrain and nature. It is stunning in my opinion, very beautiful. And Talus Dojo, this isn't the whole look, this is not just the POI. You can see it runs down here as well. You have these smaller buildings here. You have this really long path to another building. The path keeps going down to the very edge of the map, where you see this farm. There's a lot of these on the map, these like farms. You will see them absolutely everywhere, so just keep an eye out for these because they are everywhere. And also, if you go this way, you can go towards the back of the dojo, right? So this is the back of the dojo, and it goes along here to another small little building, and just a very scenic, nice route. And then it wraps round to the front of the dojo again. And I mean, that could be considered the whole POI, but there is still smaller landmarks around the POI which I would still consider part of the POI. Like this small little landmark here with another farm all the way up here. Like, is this still in the POI? I don't know that. This is the first POI, Talus Dojo. It is absolutely huge, a full custom dojo made from the ground up, and also the nature around it is very beautiful, as you can see. So yeah, there you go, your first POI, Talus Dojo, a huge dojo, and this is obviously Talus Dojo. We'll swiftly move on to the next biome and POI, Abandoned Forest. This is quite similar to the jungle, but it's less jungle and more like a forest. And this biome is absolutely stunning. It's also a bamboo forest. It's not just a forest, there's lots of bamboo. Obviously, you probably saw this in the trailer. Abandoned forest, right? You have this nice little village at the top. It looks pretty abandoned, right? Like, I don't think anyone's living in these, but I mean, well, maybe actually. I'm not sure. But the real part of this POI, right, is if you go in this cave, which is right next to the POI, you will see this teleporter, or the rift. You enter it, and then you enter Talus' hideout. This is like Talus' HQ. This is where probably all of his slaves work. As you can see here, command, like control panels and stuff like that. Huge place for all of Talus' slaves and workers to just get at it and make sure that Talus can take over the entire world. That's his plan. If we come down to the very end, you will see this is not a 0 point. I fucking hate 0 points. This is the shard that Talus consumed. It is nice and secure, so no one can access this, right? No one's getting inside of this. And then you just have the forest biome in general, which is just, in my opinion, stunning, right? There's a lot of detail in this forest, so sometimes my frames do drop a little bit. A waterfall, which you can go in, and it's more of like another little command center for Talus. Yeah, that's pretty much the forest. Kind of like the jungle, but a little bit more compact and dense, and it just, I don't know. It is absolutely beautiful. There you go, that's Abandoned Forest, the second POI. For the third POI, we're making a return to the jungle, and we are at Lost Village. This POI was never supposed to exist. It started off as like a little landmark, right? It started off as like kind of pretty much this. And then I slowly expanded it. And then before you knew it, I was like, alright, we're just going to make this a POI. That's why in the trailer, you might have noticed, every POI had its own song besides Talus Dojo and Lost Village because I just didn't have time. Well, I did have time, but I just thought we'll make Lost Village like a small little extra bonus POI, so that's why it didn't really get its own like separate song or whatever. And it, honestly, for like a bonus POI, this is probably like, this is really good. It's simple, but I really like it. I like the elevation as well. I really like the walls as well, like the brick walls for supports. I need to burp. Especially these little houses here. It's just like a small little village. Nothing about it is lost. I don't know why it's called Lost Village. It's still very much like alive and well. You have these, which is like hot springs, which is quite nice. You might have seen that in the trailer, Shogun X. Another hot springs. And then, I don't know, just, I love this POI. It's very simple, very nice. You also have this exotic thing. I don't even know what's going on here, but you have little cubby holes for more places to sleep. And this huge like block, this huge like platform here does have a few secret entrances. You can enter this place, you can enter it through the back, and then there's also 2 entrances here. This is like, it's just like a secret room. It is not supposed to mean anything, right? I mean, it was supposed to be like just fully random, and it's not supposed to make any sense at all. That's what this like hidden room is about. Yeah, Lost Village, it is a very nice POI. Now let's move on to the biggest and probably everyone's favourite POI. So for the final POI, I have took off the sky dome because it looks better like in the daytime. Obviously in the jungle, or like in the forest and the jungle, the sky dome I had on makes it like really look nice. But I think for this final biome and this final POI, it looks better when it's like just daytime. So I've removed the sky dome. But ladies and gentlemen, I present to you Fuck, I'll do that again. Ladies and gentlemen, I present to you Ladies and gentlemen, I present to you Kawamura Town. Oh, for fuck's sake! Kawamura Town translates to like riverside or like lake, which you can see there's a small little river right next to the town, so that's where the name comes from. But yeah, it is a huge town that took way too long to make. Obviously, you know, you can clearly see Seaport City stuff, so you're like, oh, the Seaport City stuff only got added a few weeks ago, so obviously it didn't take that long. Yeah, no, it pissed me off. I started this POI ages ago, right? And these are what the buildings look like, right? And then halfway through developing this POI, they added the Seaport City stuff. So then I had to go through, I had to change all the roads, I had to change all the buildings, right? I had to like, oh, it took so long, but I'm very happy with how it turned out. Lots of effort went into this. It might not look like it, but believe me, like, a lot of these buildings are straight from real life. Like, I would literally go on YouTube and search up, like, Japan urban town, like, 4K walkthrough, and I would take some buildings and try recreate them in Fortnite. That is literally what I did, I'm not even joking. So a lot of these buildings are, like, directly from real life, just so I can get it, like, as realistic as possible. I mean, look at the scale of this POI, a very detailed town, and you can see the memory has skyrocketed, but honestly, I'm not bothered because this POI is just, it's probably one of my best creations, if not my best creation ever. I had to change so much, like just a small example, this car park here was originally in the middle, right? None of these buildings were here before, and this car park was directly in the middle. Just, there was so much different about this POI. I do have some pictures which I will throw up, some very like early pictures, just so we can get a sense of how much has changed and how much like development this POI went through. That honestly, if this POI didn't exist, this map would have came out a month ago, but honestly, I don't care because I'm very happy with how it turned out. And I haven't even went over this tiny part. I don't know if this is part of the POI, this is more up to like personal preference. If you want to count this part of the POI, then go for it. I wouldn't say it is, but it's up to you. It's just kind of like a dock. As you can see, there's docks here, and there's like a loading station, I guess, for different companies. I don't really know. There's some buildings here as well, and then a road at the end that leads to some solar panels. Just a nice additional part. This was a landmark, and I guess it kind of is. It's up to you if you want to call this a landmark or part of the POI. Same goes as this part down here as well. You can count this part of the PY if you want, but I would say this is a landmark, right? Because it's just a few like buildings and houses or whatever, but it's still fairly detailed, you know. It's still very Japan focused. You can see all the roads line up as well from season 1. These are the roads from season 1, and you can see they line up with season 2 as well as down here as well, and they all lead to the city centre. Join up here and they go across this little path, and then this is where you enter the city, well, town, sorry. Yeah, I mean, the biome as well is pretty beautiful in my opinion. I like how the biome came out. It's very different to the forest and the jungle, but I'm a big fan of how this biome turned out, especially the terrain piece. This is the chapter 5 terrain piece, the only like the only chapter 5 season 1 like terrain piece we have, and it's kind of perfect, right? Because this obviously uses the underworld biome, but I wanted this biome to have more of a lush, like green, vibrant feel to it. And then I found this piece and it was great because it's still kind of got the underworld, like dark terrain, but it has grass on the top. So I was like, this is absolutely perfect, and it worked out very good. You can see like I've used the grass for like kind of patches on the ground instead of like fully grown, which I think is very nice. And I mean, the cherry blossom trees are very beautiful, especially the red and the yellow trees, but to be fair, those are also like, that's just part of season 1 as well, I guess. That's Kawamura Town for you, right? It is huge. I mean, if you really wanted to, you could count this entire biome as the PY, considering if you really wanted to, it could stretch from this corner all the way down to here, which would make it about 500 metres, but I would say that's a bit of a stretch. I would say the main PY is obviously this middle part. But yeah, that is pretty much it. Well, unless you're staying for the after party, if you will, which I will go into the more landmark, go into like more detail, show you the landmarks and all that. But if you want to click off the now, that's fine. That's completely understandable. I've showed you all the PYs, whatever. Yeah, there you go. New era. The final Rift Season 2. Talus, obviously the crystal took over. The crystal exploded and it made this huge new biome. Anyway, ladies and gentlemen, there you have it. New era Season 2. Talus' takeover. Huge season. 4 PYs. And obviously, because I'm a fucking retard, I forgot the Infinity Castle PY. Back in December when I started this project, do you want to have a look? I started this season on Christmas Day. I remember it was like around the night of Christmas Day. I watched Demon Slayer and I loved it. It was very cool. And I wanted to remake Infinity Castle from Demon Slayer. I'm not gonna lie, it's a shit recreation, okay? But I don't really care. It was kind of fun to make. This is my attempt. This is my attempt at Infinity Castle. This will be gone next season. It was more just for fun, right? On that note, that is the season done. I completely forgot about that. I'm sorry. It's just so irrelevant, right? In the nicest way possible. But yeah, ladies and gentlemen, there you go. New era season 2. I really hope you enjoyed. If you're still here, I really appreciate it. It just shows that you really like this map and you want to see more, which makes me very happy. So what I'm going to do is I'm just going to record as I like walk through the PYs, and each one of these buildings were inspired off of like real life buildings from actual Japan, and even like stuff like this, like these little like parking areas. These all, like, if you go on YouTube and Pinterest, I use Pinterest as well. I really did try to make it as accurate as possible. Like, obviously you have like the telephone wires or the telephone poles, whatever. Interior, okay, the interior isn't the best, but I mean, look at the memory. Like, there isn't much I can really do here. I'm actually pretty sure this is the tallest building in the PY, which I didn't even mean to do, to be honest, but pretty sure this is the tallest. Obviously you have like that, but that's because this is an elevated part. Yeah, I'll just kind of walk through. Ladies and gentlemen, welcome to Snapshots, my new BR map. Oops. Now what I'm going to do is I'm going to quickly fly over and show you all of the landmarks in the forest and the jungle, because there's lots of them that I didn't go over in the quick few minute tour. detailed overview of the map. It did also just come back to me. I know at the start of the video I said that as I'm going over the more detailed tour, I would talk more, but I kind of changed my mind. I thought maybe just sticking some music on in the background would be better. I do have one last thing I want to show you. There is a nice little custom sky dome that basically makes the game look a little bit cinematic. It's very hard to see, but it makes everything look like it is straight out of a movie. I will do a very quick showcase of like what some stuff looks like. The forest looks very nice with it on, I must say. Especially here, like, where is the one spot? Where is the torii here? Like this, I think this is really nice. It's very beautiful. Wow, look at that. It is very, it is beautiful. God damn. It doesn't look as good in the town. It looks a little bit weird, I won't lie. But definitely in the jungle and the forest, it looks very, very, very beautiful. Wow, look at that. Stunning. Honestly, the 4 months definitely paid off, right? I forgot about this. The 4 months definitely paid off. I am so happy with how everything turned out. Lots of detail went into this, and I don't know. Ladies and gentlemen, hope you enjoyed.